Hey guys, my name is Will Hayward. I'm an ultra runner here in Hong Kong, and last year, 2019, I came second in Lazarus Lake's Big Dogs Backyard Ultra in Tennessee, USA. So the Backyard Ultra is a bit different than other ultras. In the Backyard Ultra, your only task is to run 6.7 Ks in an hour. Sounds pretty easy, right? So everyone lines up at the start line, run 6.7 Ks. Maybe that takes 40, 45, 50 minutes. Then you get to rest, and then on the next hour, you come back and try and run the 6.7 Ks again. And then you do that again, and again, and again, and the race finishes when there's only one person who does the 6.7 Ks. And that might take 12 hours, that might take 24 hours. In my case, that might take 60 hours. But eventually, you come down to one, and that's the person that wins. I've done 3 backyard ultras. I did Big Boar's Backyard Ultra here in Hong Kong. Managed to win that, and from that I got a ticket to go to Big Dog's Backyard Ultra in the USA. And then also earlier this year, I did a quarantine backyard, basically a virtual race where I was running 6.7K loops here in Hong Kong, and people from all over the world were doing the same thing. In each of the backyards I've done, I've lasted more than 24 hours. In Hong Kong, I won it with 25 hours. As I said, at Big Dogs, I ran for 59 hours, so that's 2.5 days. Basically every hour of 2.5 days, doing the 6.7 Ks, coming back, having a short break, and then going and doing it again. In the quarantine, I lasted about 28 hours. So my first backyard was Big Boar's Backyard here in Hong Kong. Didn't really know what I was doing, just trying to run the loops, come back in time, have a bit of a rest. I guess the thing I learned from that one was I was trying to run a little bit faster to have a longer break, but ultimately I just got myself really tired. So the lesson I learned was actually to try and run slower. That the length of the break, maybe for me, didn't matter quite so long, but the most important thing was to run slowly so I wasn't tiring myself out. Then when I went to Big Dog's Backyard Ultra in Tennessee, I really had no expectations for how I was going to go. I thought I'd probably run maybe about a day and a half. I thought I could probably do that. That's about 150 miles. And then I thought probably that'd be good and I could like quit and then sit around the campfire and watch all the crazies who were still going. Unfortunately, I kept going, so I became one of the crazies. And I was one of the last 2 crazies. So that meant I went quite a lot longer than I planned to. So at Big Dog's Backyard Ultra, I found myself surrounded by some really talented runners, like top, professional runners. And that was, a bit of a surprise for someone like me who's just kind of like a middle-aged guy running around in Hong Kong. But the backyard format is one that really anyone can compete with anybody else. Men and women compete really fairly together. Old people and younger people compete fairly together because it doesn't really reward power and speed. It just rewards endurance and stubbornness. So if you are stubborn and you can endure, then maybe this is the race for you. If you want to learn more about Big Dog's Backyard Ultra from 2019, if you go on YouTube, you'll find a pretty good movie about it. That shows you the runners at the start and shows you them in the middle and shows you at the end, and you'll see that towards the end we get pretty tired. I mean, the short story is that we started with 72 runners. After 24 hours, there's still about 40 going. By 36 hours, we were down to about 12, and then that took us through the second night, and at the end of the second night, there were 4 of us left. So that was about 48 hours in, 2 days, 4 of us still going. Two of them dropped pretty quickly, and then from about 52 hours, it was left to me and Maggie Gutel, who's like a really incredible American runner. She's done fantastic things, and she and I ran loops together for about 8 hours. Just the two of us. She was much faster than me, so she was finishing her loops more quickly. I was struggling, but managing to come back each time just with a minute or two to spare. Then I would have to very quickly turn things around, have some food, and then get back out again. And in the end, after the 59th loop, we started on the 60th loop. It started to get dark because this was the evening on the third day, and basically I fell asleep. I was sleepwalking around the loop. I didn't fall over, I didn't lie down, but yeah, I was totally out of it. And so so they found me in a daze, about 10 minutes after the hour finished, wandering around. Maggie finished that loop in time, so she finished, I did not, and therefore she won the race, and I came second. I was a little bit disappointed, but to go for 2.5 days, I ran almost 400 kilometers. That was much further than I thought I would, so ultimately, I was pretty satisfied by that. I think the thing about the backyard is that it starts easy. It generally starts pretty easy, and then at some point it gets hard. Maybe depending on where you are as a runner, maybe it gets hard after 3 loops or 4 loops. Maybe it gets hard after 24 hours. Maybe it gets hard, past that. But at some point it gets hard, and then it's really just a question of your mental toughness. Do you want to actually finish this thing? You start thinking about how stupid this thing is. You're just running around in loops. You could just be sitting by the campfire and chatting to your friends and having a beer. Why would you keep running? So it's really for you to answer those questions. That's why it's such an interesting format, because it asks a lot of questions and you got to try and answer them. And you don't really know how you're going to answer them until you get in that point. So I think it's a really interesting format for that reason. The great thing about the backyard format is that it's really for everyone. So if you've never run a half marathon before, if you do 4 loops, then you've gone further than a half marathon. If you've never done a 50K, then just keep running for your loops, and all of a sudden you'll find that you've done more than that. So it's a really good way to explore your boundaries. On the other hand, if you want to win, then come along and just keep running, and all you have to do is keep running longer than everyone else. Just wait for everyone to give up. Just don't give up. Eventually you have to win. So it's really, it's a really nice format. You get to chat with people. You get to run with the fast people and the slow people run together. You see each other every loop. Very social. You have friends come down maybe to help to look after you. So so it's a really good format just for exploring your boundaries. So I really recommend everyone takes a look at Big Bear's Backyard Ultra in Slovakia. I would love to be there. Maybe this year that's a little tough, with COVID-19. But I'm sure it's going to be a really fantastic event. Wish everyone well and really encourage you to enter and explore your boundaries.